Hi all, this game that I'm going to show you now is a game that I played yesterday evening during a team match. So we were playing four players against 4 players of another club, and I was playing black and my opponent opened with e4, and after the first moves of the Pirc defense, g6, he played bishop to e3 here, and I remember that I had seen in a book about the Pirc defense that the idea of this move is to prepare queen to d2, then after that cancelling queenside, and this bishop will go to h6 to be exchanged for the dark square bishop of black, and after these dark squares around the king are weakened, then the pawn storm can start. Actually f3 first and then g4, h4. So that's the main idea of this system for white. It's a very aggressive system against the Pirc defense, and I remembered that I had read that it's advisable for black to delay bishop g7 and cancelling. So I moved to c6 here with the idea of preparing b5 later. So I continued with f3, and now I played b5, queen to d2, and at this point I didn't know exactly how to continue, what was the correct move order in this variation. So I moved queen to a5, and my idea behind this was to eventually, if he castles queenside, to be able to play b4 with an attack on a2. The correct move order actually is, and that's something that I saw just this morning, I opened the book again to look this variation, is knight to d7 here, and the line goes like this: g4 and now knight to b6, and with this move black makes a space on d7 for the other knight to retreat. So for example, if h4, h5, g5, and now knight to d7, and black is safe. Of course it's still a very exciting position and many things can happen, but this is actually the correct way of playing with black. But well, during the game I didn't realize that, so I played queen to a5, bishop to d3, and now I played bishop to e6, and it's looks a bit strange, this move. My idea was to try to gain control over c4 and also to put more pressure on this a2 pawn. One plan was also to play knight to d7, knight to b6, and then knight to c4, attacking queen and bishop, and supported by this bishop on e6. The problem with this bishop e6 move is that white now can make use of the move d5, and here I had a problem. I had to admit that I had not chosen the best continuation. Taking on d5 is bad because of bishop takes b5, check, and then I have to play bishop to d7, and after exchanging here he takes on d5 and white has won a pawn. So there was actually no other option than to retreat the bishop again to d6. So this is what I played. Now he took on d6, and I took bishop takes c6, I mean, and here I was actually lucky because he continued with the developing move knight g to e2, but he could have gotten advantage immediately after knight takes b5 here, because this pawn is actually not sufficiently defended, because now my queen is attacked by his queen, and if I trade queens, then after that I cannot take the knight twice. So that means that white has won a pawn here and has a very good position with 2 strong bishops here. In the game my opponent made a mistake. He didn't see this possibility of playing knight takes b5, so he played knight to e2, I played a6 to support the b5 pawn, and he continued with knight to d4, bishop to b7, knight to b3 attacking my queen, queen to c7, and now a4. I played b4, knight to e2, and now knight c6 to defend the b4 pawn that was attacked by the queen. a5 was played here, and now I played knight to d7. That was needed because this bishop is looking at b6, so I needed to put a piece here to control b6 again. He played c3 here, and now I found a move that I think surprised my opponent, and it's a move that equalizes immediately. It's knight d to e5. He plays bishop b6 here, and the idea of knight to e5 is that now I don't need to retreat my queen. I can take on d3 with check, and after he retakes I can bring the other knight to e5. So now if he would take on c7, then I take his queen with check, and after the king moves, then I can, for example, play rook to c8, or b takes c3, or bishop g7, putting it on this strong diagonal. So all nice possibilities for black. The idea was also that if he would retreat the queen, for example, to g2, I wanted to play queen to c4, now attacking the knight on b3, and also with the idea of moving my knight to d3 with check. In the game he played queen to d4, queen c4, and then after changing queens he took on b4, and here I must be careful because knight takes b2 would be a mistake because of bishop to d4, and my rook is attacked and my knight is attacked. There is an escape though with knight to d3 check, but after bishop to d2 I thought, wait, my knight is still attacked and my rook as well, so I didn't like this idea. Now still black has an escape here, and this is what I'm looking now with the Fritz engine running in the background. So if white takes here, after retaking I have a double pawn. He has a majority here, but this pawn cannot be advanced very easily, so it's very difficult for white to create a pass pawn here. The position is more or less equal here. Well, so actually this means that knight takes b2 was possible. Let me go back to the game. After c takes b4, so I didn't take on b2, I played bishop to g7 first, and this is also good. He played knight to d4, bishop to d4, I mean, bishop takes d4, knight e takes d4, and now he took on b2. King e2, king d7 to control the squares here around the c file and prepare my rook, my h rook, to go to c8. He played rook to a2, attacking my knight, knight to c4, and now rook to c1, and here he offered a draw. And thinking about how the game had developed, I was actually happy to get the half point, so I accepted the draw offer, and this was the game that started not very successful, but because of this little mistake of my opponent I could come back and equalize the position. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and leave your comments on YouTube. Goodbye.